Something huge is happening in the gaming industry right now. Today, we're going to tear into the GDC 2026 State of the Game Industry Report, because what it shows is an industry that's not just changing, it's in the middle of a full-blown crisis and, at the same time, a quiet revolution.
So let's just jump right into the deep end. In just the last 2 years, 28%, that's more than a quarter, of all game developers surveyed have been laid off.
And, if you happen to be a developer in the United States, the picture gets even worse. We're talking a staggering 1 in 3 people losing their jobs.
And the next generation, the people who are supposed to be building our future games, they're looking at this and they are terrified. Nearly 3/4 of students are worried about their future in this job market. This isn't just some market correction, you guys. This is a shockwave hitting the entire system.
Okay, so let's dig into that. Who is really bearing the brunt of all this? The data, well, it paints a really clear and, honestly, a pretty grim picture of where the pain is being felt the most.
You might think, oh, the big AAA studios, they're probably fine, right? Nope. They've actually been hit the hardest. 2/3 of them reported layoffs. And it's not like the little guys are safe either. A full third of smaller indie developers have been impacted. It seems like no corner of the industry is safe.
So what in the world is driving this? Well, one of the most divisive factors, something that's creating a real ideological battlefield, is the incredibly explosive topic of generative AI.
On one side of this fight, you've got the investors. People like Moritz Beyer-Lentz, who look at AI and see this wondrous, revolutionary tool. They tend to dismiss all these layoffs as just a natural post-COVID correction.
But then you look at the people who are actually making the games, and wow, the disconnect is it's stark. The creators who are closest to this technology, the artists, the writers, the programmers, they are the ones who are most afraid of the harm it could do.
And look, this isn't just some theoretical debate. We saw this whole conflict play out in real time. Block lays off almost half its company, the CEO goes public and basically says AI lets them do it, and what happens? The stock market rewards them for it. That sets a really dangerous precedent. Now, here's the twist. Despite all that fear, developers are using AI. But you have to look at how they're using it. It's a background tool, For brainstorming, for help with routine code, it's not being used to replace the core creative work. And that creates this huge tension between the reality of how AI is used and the story that's being sold to investors.
So with all this instability, this fear, how are developers responding? Well, they're responding with a historic, unprecedented surge in organized labor. Okay, this right here might be the most stunning statistic in the entire report. Among the youngest developers, we're talking about 18 to 24-year-olds, support for unionization is unanimous. 100%. 0% are against it. That's unheard of.
And this is not just a youth movement. Across the entire U.S. developer community, support for unions has hit an all-time high. With more than half of all developers actively looking to join one, this isn't a trend anymore. This is a fundamental shift in the industry's power structure.
So, faced with all this, how are developers adapting? Well, they're getting scrappy. They're finding new ways to build and new platforms to build for, and in the process, they're completely changing the rules of the game. So, let's ask a question that the report really helps us answer. Where are developers focusing their energy and excitement right now? The answer? Well, it might not be what you think.
So, PC is still king, no big surprise there. But check this out. Valve's Steam Deck is now tied with the PlayStation 5 in developer interest. It's even ahead of the super hyped, but not even out yet, Nintendo Switch 2.
And the reason why is pretty simple. It's an open platform. Developers can get their games to millions of players on a handheld without paying massive fees or dealing with the strict gatekeeping of the big consoles. For a lot of them, that is a total game changer. And it's not just about platforms. The actual model of how games get made is being totally transformed, really out of both necessity and a whole lot of innovation.
The old way of doing things, the massive, self-contained AAA studio, that's giving way to a new, much more agile approach. We're talking global collaboration, using licensed tech like Unreal or Unity, and a whole lot more creative independence.
And this new model isn't just some small niche thing. It is absolutely booming. The indie market is projected to more than double in value in the next 5 years. It's literally becoming the main engine of creativity for the entire industry.
So let's just quickly recap the key takeaways here. We have an industry that's facing a massive labor crisis and widespread fear. It's got a deep conflict over technology. In response, we're seeing a powerful labor reaction and a huge wave of adaptation and innovation from the ground up.
Which brings us right back to our central question. This GDC report, it doesn't just show an industry in transition, it shows an industry at war with itself. So who's going to win the battle for its soul? The investors looking for efficiency, or the creators fighting for a future they can actually live in? Right now, the outcome is far from certain.